Hi, welcome to Love Talk Q&A, the place to get your questions answered about finding and keeping the love of your life. I'm Stefan Gonick, Soulmate Attraction Mentor and founder of the Soulmate Attraction Academy from singletosoulmate.me. Now in this episode of Love Talk Q&A, I'm going to be answering the following question. My partner loves me and wants to be with me, but his bad behavior that makes me want to leave him doesn't change. Why won't he stop the bad behavior if he doesn't want me to leave? Why do people wait until their partner leaves them to change? All right, so this is a very common situation, unfortunately, and it's kind of based on how people work. And the reason why your partner has a hard time changing the bad behavior that makes you want to leave him is that this bad behavior is part of who he is as a person. And it may be very confusing to you because you can kind of think, well, isn't it obvious that this is bad behavior? Hasn't he gotten feedback before this is bad behavior? And I'm giving him lots of feedback that this bad behavior is making me want to leave, and yet he doesn't change it, right? Or maybe, I really threaten to leave and maybe even do leave, and then he goes, oh, wait, now I'll change it. And, then he has to kind of like talk me into coming back and convincing me that he's going to change. And then I finally do come back. And then, maybe he has changed for a little while, but then after a little while, he slides back into behaving the way he did before, even though he knows that that's why I left the first time. So I'm sort of extending the question a little bit because I see this kind of thing a lot. So the person has some kind of negative behavior that feels very destructive and it's a big problem, and they're very resistant to looking at it or addressing it or changing it. And even though you're even talking about how unhappy you are, eventually talking about you're going to threatening to leave, getting serious about it, actually leaving and everything, and yet they don't do it. So why is this? And like I said, the basic reason is because this is who the person is, right? We are the sum total of the combination of our inherent personality type and all the experiences we had growing up. And you kind of put those two together, and then how we behave, both in good ways and in bad ways, is who we are. And just because our partner wants us to change certain behavior that they don't like doesn't convince us that we need to. Because to change some kind of behavior that's not working for us is hard to do. It's hard to change. These things are very entrenched. They're built into who we are. Like I said, it's a combination of your personality type and all the experiences you had growing up results in you being exactly who you are. And basically, none of us are likely to really change unless we decide it's a problem for us. Even when our partner says, this behavior is such a big problem for me that I'm unhappy in this relationship to begin with, and then eventually, in fact, it's such a big problem with me, I'm going to leave this relationship. That's still not telling me, if I'm the one with the bad behavior, that I'm the one with the problem. I might think, well, you're the one with the problem. This is just who I am. Why are you making such a big deal? Or, okay, I'm sorry about that, stuff like that. But until I decide that I view it as a problem and I want to change it for me, not necessarily for you, then I'm never will change. So that's why you see this thing where you get this temporary change. Because if the person actually leaves, and I really, say, let's pretend I'm the one who's having this problem with the bad behavior. If my partner, just because they say they're unhappy, that's not going to be enough for me to motivate myself. Even though I don't want my partner to be unhappy, this is still me. And I'm not viewing this as a problem that I have, right? I'm viewing it as kind of a problem between us. So I'm not going to change for that. Then she starts to threaten leaving. And that's worrying me a bit, but still the resistance to change is very big. Then she actually does leave. And now to get her back, I have to say that I'm going to change this thing, but I'd be doing it for her, not for me. And that's the key difference. I would be doing it for her and not me, which means that when she came back, if I managed to convince her to come back, I might be able to, through willpower, temporarily change my behavior, but willpower is not enough to make a permanent change. So what will happen is we get back together, I go out of my way to try and behave in a different way, and then things settle down. And then once things settle down, we're back to, quote, normal, I'm going to settle back down into who I naturally am. So like I say, it's not until I decide that this is a problem for me that I need to change for me, am I ever actually going to change it? So that's a huge thing to recognize. So, how can that actually happen then? Well, first of all, you need to establish what the person is, do they view it as a problem? So if you say, look, there's this behavior you have and it's really painful for me, it's making me unhappy, and they go, look for how they respond to that. If they seem to respond in a way that they feel like you're making too big a deal out of it, or it's, this is kind of more like your problem than my problem, that kind of thing, that's a very bad sign. And if the person goes, yeah, I'll change it, but they've said that before and they never did anything, then you need to ask them a very point blank question. John, that's your, do you think this is a problem? Do you think this behavior that you're doing, is it a problem for you? Do you view it as a problem that you have and you would like to change it? Okay, so if they don't agree that, yeah, actually I think it is a problem that I have and I want to change it, if you don't get that, it's never going to happen. And you have to recognize that and accept that and make your decision from there. But even if they say, yeah, I do acknowledge it's a problem, and yeah, I would like to change it, then the next question is, okay, great. Change is hard. I know that change is hard. What are you willing to do to help change this behavior for yourself? And typically, the kind of thing that needs to be done is something major, right? Because like I say, if there's some entrenched negative behavior, then that's going to be a hard thing to change because it's become part of the person's personality. So that typically takes something like, a therapeutic kind of thing to change it. It could be couples counseling, we work together as a couple. It could be individual counseling, or something like that. Or it can be other things. You can take a workshop. You can read a book, and sometimes that helps the person understand their behavior better and helps them change. You can attend a group experience, but you have to do something very out of the ordinary. You can't just go, yeah, I'll change, and just kind of use your willpower or your intention that, yeah, I'm going to change, because that's not going to be sufficient. So if you're in that situation with somebody, like I said, you need to find out from them, do they agree that, yeah, I acknowledge this really is a problem for me, and I'm interested in changing this for me, not just to try and make you happy. Because doing it, like I say, trying to make you happy is not sufficient motivation. Even if I love you very much and I want to maintain this relationship, if I'm coming purely from the place of trying to make you happy, then that's not going to do it. So if the first step is to find out, does this person acknowledge there's a problem for them? They agree it is, they want to change it, and then find out what they're willing to do to change it. If they're not willing to do much, you're not likely to see a big difference down the line. So again, these are all pieces of important, vital information to help you make your decision as to what you're going to do. And the choices are, I accept this behavior, I accept this as part of my partner, as part of the overall package, and the overall package is good enough that I can accept this negative behavior, or I don't accept it. This really is enough to end this relationship, and I need to see a big sign that something's going to happen here. But the original question is, why doesn't somebody change even when they know that it's making their partner unhappy, even to the point where they might leave or even do leave? Like I said, we are who we are. By the time we're adults in a relationship, for better or worse, all of our good traits and all of our bad traits are very entrenched. And that's just who we are. So I hope that answer was helpful. I'd love to get any comments that you might have about my answer or this topic, and I'll respond to all your comments. If you did find this helpful, it would help me to know that if you click on the like button. And I'll see you on the next episode of Love Talk Q&A. Also, if you would like to understand the 3 key blocks to finding love and how to attract your soulmate now, sign up for the free Finding the Love You Want mini course. Well, thank you for hanging out with me, and remember, no matter how long you've been trying, you really can have the life and love you long for.